up, everybody? Welcome to my spoiler review of Shazam. I was able to watch a free screening, but the movie is out now. As a lot of you guys were able to watch it yesterday. Some of you are watching this weekend, and now I'm going back tonight to see it again. That's how much I loved it. But I've been very excited to really discuss the spoilers. So again, if you haven't seen the film yet, please don't watch the video. Check out my non-spoiler review and then come back here and we can discuss the spoilers once you've seen the film. But anyways, guys, first and foremost, this is not really a structured review. I'm just going to be talking about all the things that really worked, the little things that didn't work. And on my non-spoiler review, I talked about something that happened at the end that left me a little bit disappointed. So I'm going to address that towards the end. So let's get to it. The movie really starts with Dr. Sivana. It's kind of his origin story and how he becomes Dr. Sivana. So he's in a car with his brother and his father. And they're kind of talking down to him, you know, they don't really believe in him. And guess what? The father of Dr. Sivana, you know, Dr. Sivana's dad is Lionel Luthor from Smallville. He plays villains very well, but he's not really technically a villain here. He's just a bad father. I would put it that way because, I mean, he's not very supportive of his son and he's very harsh on him. But long story short, so the wizard Shazam is looking for his next hero because that's the story of Shazam. And then he gets Dr. Sivana as a boy and offer the power to him. But first he needs to kind of be tested. And instead of really overcoming the test, he kind of goes towards the dark side. You could call it that way. And this movie involves the 7 deadly sins, which I'm going to get to it in a little bit as well. So he's over there in this room, the Shazam wizard is right there, and then he's just completely enticed, I would say that way, to the dark side and to this thing that the 7 deadly sins were saying, you should choose us. And basically the wizard sent him away, telling him he's not worthy. But obviously this is an experience that it's very, very, very traumatizing, you could say, right? So Dr. Sivana's entire life is pretty much trying to get back to that location to learn more about that power. So I thought that was indeed a very interesting backstory there. But again, the wizard still hasn't found his hero. And the more time passes, the weaker he gets. And he's the one kind of keeping the 7 deadly sins from taking over Earth. So I really enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty cool. Now, the 7 deadly sins were incredible in my opinion. I really did not think that they were gonna go with demons, you know, because, you know, we've seen the 7 deadly sins so many times in movies, in animation, and they're usually portrayed like lust would be someone really beautiful, or gluttony, you know what I mean. But they really went with demons, which I thought they really brought that horror element to the film that I enjoyed so much. And I was like, is this really kid friendly? Because some scenes were quite scary. One of the downsides for me is that I didn't think the CGI throughout the entire film was spot on, but that has a lot to do with the budget of the film. It was only a budget of 100 million, so I totally forgive them for that. But it's still, it really did, it wasn't as bad to the point that would take me away from the film. But I thought that 7 deadly sins were awesome. And when they take over Dr. Sivana, you know, because finally he gets to the point where he finds them and they take over and they kind of possess him, that was pretty cool. Like the board meeting scene was very, very scary. When they walk in and Dr. Sivana is talking back to his brother and his father, and he pretty much murders his brother in cold blood, I was definitely not expecting that. I was like, whoa. And then one of the deadly scenes kind of rips someone's head out. I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming. So that was a really, really cool scene. And I really like how they go in and out, and like it looks like a smoke. So it's kind of like that's what powers him actually. But the interesting thing is that not all of them come out. One of them stays in. It's Envy, and we find that out much later. So that to me was a very positive thing. Also, I think Mark Strong was a great villain. I think that he didn't overplay the character, but it seemed like he was having the right amount of fun with the character. So many good scenes, and his interaction with Zachary Levi was hilarious. I love the scene where they're on air, and that's probably the one scene where Dr. Sivana kind of overacts as being a villain. He's like telling all these things that he's going to do with Shazam. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And they're really far apart. That scene was hilarious. And Shazam is just like, what? What are you talking? That was really fun. I love that. And then Shazam just go, oh, screw it, and then they just start fighting. I really enjoyed that. But there's also very interesting how he finds out that he's a kid, and obviously that is to his advantage. And again, that's the whole thing with a hero. A hero is always going to have a soft spot for people, you know, and in that specific, in the specific film is his family, the Shazam family, which I'm gonna get to in a little bit as well. What I really enjoy in this film is because at the same time that it's having a lot of fun and making us laugh, it's really addressing very serious stuff, like how hard it is to be a foster kid, you know. Like, I thought that when the whole Billie Batson is so smart in trying to find his mom, because he was a kid when he's lost his mom, so he has no idea what exactly happened. Then on flashbacks, when we find out that the mom was actually the one that didn't want to find him, I thought that was so heartbreaking. And you know, the Shazam family, his foster family, helps him track his mom down, and it was very heartbreaking to me when he actually gets there. He's talking to his mom, and there is no reaction back. You know, pretty much she's just saying, "I did not want to," you know, and it was incredibly heartbreaking. But it was also a very turning point for Billie Batson to understand that family not always means blood. His true family was really his foster family, you know. And the foster family, how great are they? You know, every single character, from the parents to the kids, incredible. I had you felt the warmth and the love inside of that home, and I thought that is just so, it was so inspiring and so good. And it made me feel, like I said on my non-spoiler review, this is a very feel good film. There's a lot of scenes that really makes you go, oh, that was so nice. But let's talk about Freddy. Freddy is very, very influential on Billie Batson's life. That's because Freddy is the one that understands the whole superhero stuff. And I think that Freddy, which is played by Jack Dylan Grazer, now I got his name right. I called him Zach on my other review for some reason. But he is such a great actor. He's the same kid from It as well, and he was also great in that film. His chemistry with Zachary Levi was incredible. It was so much fun to watch those two. And it's even cool because Freddy is the one that is kind of calling attention to you have all these powers and you're not really acting as a hero. Because you think about it, when Billie Batson earns all these powers, he's still a 14-year-old kid. First, we have those scenes where they need to test his powers. He doesn't know what he can do yet. When the wizard gave him his powers, he died right away, so he didn't really have a chance to ask any questions. He was just an adult with all these powers, and he had to, you know, he didn't know what to do. So I think that those scenes where they're really trying to discover his powers was really, really fun. I think the funniest one, the one that I liked the most, was the one in the deli, in the store, because that's where he stops a robbery. So the guy, you know, the thief kind of shoots him, and then he goes like this, and then we have that scene where it's also on the trailer, a little bit of it is on the trailer, where Freddy says, "You have bullet immunity." And then, but what's really fun about it is that Freddy said exactly what was in my mind, because like if you're a kid trying to discover your powers, Freddy goes, maybe it's the suit that is invulnerable. We need to find out if you're invulnerable. So he looks at the robber and say, shoot him in the face. I was laughing out loud. I could not believe he said that. And he goes, yeah, shoot me in the face. And he gives him the gun. And indeed, he finds out that he's invulnerable. So pretty much when they discover that his powers is like Superman, kind of, you know. And it's really funny. One of the lines that Freddy says is, "You're almost as cool as Superman." Almost, because Freddy loves Superman. So that relationship is really cool, and it kind of grows as well, because first we know that Billie Batson doesn't really want to be friends. He doesn't really consider the Shazam family at all. I think that scene with Darla is such a cute girl. She stole the scene every time she was on, you know, when they arrive, all the kids arrive in a high school, and she goes and hugs Billie Batson, and he's all embarrassed. But it's kind of sad when he says, "Oh, I'm not your brother." I was like, "Oh, why would you do that?" So it's really nice to see that transformation, that he really discovers that indeed these kids are his family, especially after he has his encounter with his mom. And then let's get to the Shazam film. So my first interaction with Shazam prior to this film was pretty much in animation form. So that's how I knew Shazam and how I knew about his powers. I've seen there was one animation where he's fighting Black Adam and Superman is helping him, and there is another animation one, I think it's the Justice League, or maybe it's the Superman animation, I can't remember, where Superman is actually fighting Shazam because of Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is involved, which is a great episode, and makes Superman look really bad. So that was my first encounter. So I wasn't really, I knew about the Shazam family, but I have no clue that they were going to actually bring that to the movie. So that was a major surprise. And you know, if you've been watching all the trailers, even like the promotion of the films, you don't really see all the other cast members. The emphasis is mostly on Jack Dylan Grazer, that portrays Freddy, Angel, what's his last name, that portrays young Billie Batson, and Zachary Levi. So those are the three main people. So I had no idea they were going to bring the entire family and give them powers. And that's how he defeats the 7 deadly sins towards the end. I thought that was incredible. I loved it. And how great were all the callbacks for Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was my favorite when he goes fatality, because I love Mortal Kombat. So now I think that this movie does a great job in really explaining who Shazam is, what he stands for, how he gets his powers. Even if you have never read a Shazam comic in your life, or have never seen him in animation, or never even heard about Shazam, you're gonna get out of the theaters and you're gonna know what is Shazam all about. And I thought that was brilliant, because that's what you want to do. You know, not everyone, the audience that goes and watch superhero films it's not the same audience that read comics or watch animation, for instance. So I think that DC, indeed, Warner Bros. Did a great job. So we know that Shazam gets the power from the 7 wizards, and he also can transfer this power to his family. But a very interesting thing, guys, is that the family is only 6. So where is the 7th? It's supposed to be 7. There's a lot of 7. The 7 deadly sins, the 7 wizards. It's very interesting that, okay, he transferred the powers to 6, but one of them already has the power, and that is Black Adam. So that's where Black Adam will come into the picture in the future. And if you haven't heard, it's supposed to be played by Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and there are even talks that they're going to be doing a solo film, which would be amazing. I really would love to see that. Plus, I think The Rock would be perfect for the role, and he would be, I cannot wait to see the same thing I saw in animation, which is Black Adam fighting Shazam and Superman coming to aid the fight as well. I cannot wait to see that. But in this film is mostly really focusing on Shazam. That's why they didn't bring Black Adam, because he's such a big character. But obviously I cannot wait to see this in the future, guys. I cannot even tell you. Now, another really awesome thing is the callback to the DC characters, the reference to Batman, the reference to Superman, the reference to superheroes in general. And like I said, I think Zachary Levi was indeed the perfect person to portray Billie Batson. I think you can really see that youth that comes on his performance. You know, I feel like myself, if I were to earn powers like him, I'd probably be the same way. So he's a little bit irresponsible when he first gains the powers. You know, he's not really helping people. He's doing things for money, but he's not really fully understanding the meaning of being a hero. And it's so cool when Freddy is the one that calls his attention. He said, you're giving all these powers and you're not even, using it for good. Like, that's not what a hero does. And that's where he realizes, wow, everyone needs a friend like Freddy, let's be honest. But how fulfilling was at the very end when Shazam actually gives powers to all the family, including Freddy, because that's what Freddy always told Shazam earlier. Billie Batson said, if I had these powers that you have, I would actually do something about it. And it was so fulfilling to see him becoming, one of the wizards at the end. I loved it. I loved the fight at the end, and I love the fact that Shazam really used his wisdom to defeat Dr. Sivana at the end, because one of the demons stayed inside and that's why he was still powerful, but he actually lured him out of Dr. Sivana. How awesome was that scene? That's envy, right? And that was how he was able to defeat. Now let's talk about the cameo. So that's the one thing that I mentioned on my non-spoiler review that left me a little bit disappointed, and that was Superman is in the film. Now, if you've been around my channel, you probably heard I am a die-hard Superman fan, and I heard rumors that there was going to be a Superman cameo on this film, and I was super excited. And I'm going to tell you, when Superman walked into that cafeteria, my heart almost stopped. I was like, and the girl sitting next to me was like, looked at me and I was like, sorry, and my friend was like, shut up. But that's exactly my reaction. But then the fact that we don't get to see his face was such a major letdown to me, and that's where corporates, contracts, actors' contracts and schedules get in the way of my little fan heart, because obviously I really wanted to see Henry Cavill walking in there. I think that it was going to be way more meaningful. I mean, I take it what it is. It's awesome that they brought Superman in because Freddy is obsessed with Superman, and it's awesome that in the comics, for instance, and even in animation, Shazam always had this relationship with Superman, and I loved that they brought that to the film. Like, I was like, thank you for doing that. But seriously, this is what we see of Superman, just the chest, and then he's walking with the lunch, with his, I think he's carrying a lunchbox. I'm going to watch it tonight again because I just love the movie so much. But yes, I love the cameo, but I hated that it wasn't Henry Cavill. It made me a little upset, and obviously there's a bunch of reasons involved. It is not certain that he's completely out as Superman. Jason Momoa, for instance, said that he's definitely not out, and so did Warner Bros. Said we still have a relationship with him, but there's nothing certain as far as Man of Steel film going forward, which is so upsetting because I really want to see Henry Cavill back. To me, he was a great Superman, and I thought that it was so awesome and so inspiring, so fulfilling to see that Freddy is being the one boy that's being bullied all the time. The first time Shazam didn't show up to lunch, it was so upsetting. I was like, I remember myself in high school and how hard it was, and how hard it is if you tell something to your friends in high school and you want to impress people, and then it turns out that it doesn't happen. It was a major letdown. So I love that scene, and I love Freddy's reaction when he sees Superman, and then it cuts right there. Great. I almost wanted to get up and applaud and yell, but yeah, I didn't do that. That would have been too much. But anyways, now let's talk about the end credit scene. The end credit scene is pretty much setting up to the next film, which, like I said, I thought it was going to be Black Adam. Maybe it will be, but maybe it will be two villains. Who knows? But basically, the end credit scene is Dr. Sivana sitting in jail. And then suddenly someone shows up, and that is Dr. Mind. And Dr. Mind is talking about the 7 rounds, which are 7 lands. I'm not even going to try to say all of them because I won't remember, but one of them is like Monsterland. I think there's Game Land, something like that. But it's about all these 7 lands, and that's what he's talking to Dr. Sivana there, which is pretty much a setup to Shazam 2. And then the second end credit scene, it's pretty much a callback, just a nod to Aquaman. There's nothing really to do with setting up a movie. And I think it was also leaked online, and it's pretty much Shazam talking to a fish, because again, it's kind of him trying to test his powers again to see if he could talk to fish. And it's really funny, his interaction with Freddy said, oh, what's the big deal talking to fish anyways? And Freddy tells him, where if you're the commander of the entire ocean? And Shazam's going, yeah, pretty much. So it was a cute scene, and it's pretty much a nod to Aquaman, obviously, because Aquaman made so much money. But like I said, guys, the only downside of these films for me was that CGI wasn't great, but we know that was because of budget, and the fact that Henry Cavill did not appear in the film. Other than that, I only have positive things to say about the film. I think indeed it was very inspiring. I think indeed it really shows what a hero film is supposed to be about. It really reminded me how great it was to be a kid and how great it was to believe in superheroes. It really made me believe that that's how a child would react if you automatically became Superman, for instance. And I think that this was such a great treat from DC, and I really hope that they continue on this path, because I love the DC character. But anyways, guys, that is my spoiler review. Let me know in the comments below, did you love Shazam as much as I did? Please let me know your comments below. You could tell that I absolutely love this film. I think that this movie is definitely the right path for DC. I think they're doing very well with Aquaman. I loved Aquaman. I think Aquaman has more flaws than Shazam, in my opinion, even though I think Aquaman, they're very different films. And obviously now DC also dropped the Joker trailer, which looked incredible, but it's nothing to do with this particular universe, or who knows, if the movie is very successful, who knows. But let me know in the comments below, what did you think about Shazam? Let's talk spoiler. What was the best part? What was the worst part? I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you enjoy my review, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!